welcome back. So, I thought I was being ambitious when we talked about my February TBR. Spoilers, I kind of was. I still have these 3 that I have not finished. And I honestly probably won't be finishing this one on top of that. But beyond that, I also have a very ambitious March TBR because I'm a crazy person. And I did actually read a lot in February. I just kept deviating from the TBR, so this is probably a bad idea too. But here we are. This is what we're doing today, is talking about my big old stack of books that I want to read for March. Also, I wanted to mention with my TBRs that I've added a few goals for myself, just in general with my reading, that I am also kind of failing at. But the general goals that I am adding is that each month I want to read 1 Kindle book, because I have a bunch on my Kindle, but I am very bad about getting around to reading them. So that's my goal, to read 1 Kindle book a month. I'm about 70% of the way through the one I had for this month, so not going to get it for February probably, but that's one of the goals. And then the other is also to read a nonfiction book a month, which so far this year I've done really good with, but I just wanted to state it as an official goal that I want to have 1 nonfiction for sure each month. So let's just hop into, and additionally, I want to finish 1 short story collection a month. That was the other thing. So I've added a bunch of other general rules for what'll be moving forward in the rest of my TBRs for the year. But let's talk about what I'm actually going to be trying to read in the month of March. First off, the last time I went to the library, I saw this new arrival that was sitting there, and I had to get it because it's one of my favorite series to read into, and that is this Mercedes Lackey, The Silver Bullets of Annie Oakley. I honestly don't know if I'm super interested in the Annie Oakley bit, because I'm not really like a Westerns person, but I love the Elemental Master series, and Mercedes Lackey has not disappointed in this series yet for me, so I saw it and I knew I had to read it. So that's first up on my list. Next up, I have Notes on a Crocodile. This one is a book that takes place in Taipei. It's a coming-of-age story, and it's supposed to be really good based on the reviews on the back, and I actually probably mostly picked it up because of the crocodiles and me being a reptile person, but the story itself sounds like it should be interesting too. And since it's a fairly small one, hopefully that'll be nice. It is also a translated work, which is always fun to find, and try to focus on not just things that were written in English, but finding stories that are outside of that vein too. So there's that next one. And then the next I have beyond that is what will be my short story collection for the month, and that is Sword Stone Table. I've talked about it before, I think, in some of my videos, but I listened to Preeti Chibber in a couple podcasts, and they were heavily advertising this one for a while. Preeti's got a story in it. These are all King Arthur retellings, which not super my jam necessarily, but I'm curious to see how it goes because I really like her, and Swapna Krishna and Jen Northington are in those podcasts too. They're just editors on this. I don't think they have actual stories, but I'd like to see all of their work and support it, and I'm excited to dig into this one just for all that. So there's that. And then to continue some of my other goals for the year, beyond still needing to finish both of these, I'm adding Dog's Body as my next Diana Wynne Jones read. This one I am not looking forward to. The last time I read it, I remember it being basically my least favorite Diana Wynne Jones novel. And I also have a friend who's not necessarily rereading Diana Wynne Jones the way I am this year, but has reread a couple, and she was rereading this one and wasn't liking it either. So I'm not looking forward to this one necessarily, but it's part of my project to reread all her books. So there's that. And hopefully if I get it done early in the year, then I can just get on to the better books that I like more too. And then it'll just be taken care of. So there's that. Also, from my last library trip, I found these adorable little books called Bug Girl. These were actually part of the book sale that my library was doing, and they just look charming. They're just like middle grade type stories, but they feature a girl who gets superhero powers and they're bug powers, and it seems like this is themed around the idea of it's okay to be different, it's okay to have weird interests and stuff like that, and they just sound really cute and fun, and so I'm looking forward to some quick, fun reads with that, and I like the messaging that goes with it too. Then next up on this list, I also have Jazz by Toni Morrison. I read Beloved by Toni Morrison way back in high school, and I've always kind of wanted to get back into her stuff, and this is one the library had, so I picked it up, and that's going on the list. And then my nonfiction for the month will be From Here to Eternity by Doughty. This one is subtitled as Traveling the World to Find the Good Death, so it's like a death-themed book. I think it talks about different rituals in different countries and things like that. And I'm really curious to read this, and I'm hoping it'll also be kind of some good research for some of the writing that I've been doing, because one of my stories features someone who's kind of studying death and things too, so hopefully it'll have some good tidbits that I can put in that story. And then the last thing that I have on this list is I want to try to finish the Keeper Chronicles. I still need to finish reading The Long Hot Summoning, which is the third book, so I don't have to read this whole thing in the month of March, just like the last third. But yeah, I want to actually finish this and stop having this book in my house. I've had this checked out from the library essentially for like the last year, because I just keep rechecking it out because I've been hanging on to it for so long every time. And I would like to finally be able to put it aside and say that I've actually finished this series. And it's not that it's a bad series, it's just that I kind of have to be in a mood for it, because it's contemporary witches and stuff, and just not quite what I normally read. But that is the goal, is that I actually finish this in the month of March. We'll see how it goes, but that's the goal. But yeah, as you can see, I've got another super ambitious TBR going on for the month of March. Hopefully I at least stick closer to it than I did with my February TBR, and finish off my books from my February TBR that I'm going to finish as well. I guess I didn't really talk about it, but like I said, I had started this one, and it was on the TBR, but I don't think I'll be finishing it. I have had no desire to keep reading it since I started reading it, and if I'm not enjoying the book, why keep reading it, you know? I have so many other things as evidenced just by this video that I want to read and am interested in reading, versus trying to stick through on something that just isn't clicking with me. So that's what's going on there. But yeah, if you happen to have an overly ambitious TBR and want to share what you're going to be reading in March, feel free to share down below. Obviously, if you've read any of these and want to give me your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Or if you have recommendations based on any of these things or the challenges that I've mentioned, that would be great too. And I think that's all I've got for now. This is the Umlaut Herper signing out.